So, I'm going to ask you guys a question that might seem rather interesting, but I want you to think during this presentation about why you're on LinkedIn. Most people think that LinkedIn is a direct conversion tool, and I'm going to tell you that it isn't. It is a relationship building tool. It is for greasing the wheels for business development. It is not necessarily a direct conversion tool. What I'm going to be talking about today is mostly some of the mega trends. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And no, that's not what I wanted to share. Sorry about that. This is what I want to share right here. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the mega trends that are happening because those affect everything. LinkedIn is not in isolation. It is affected by everything else that's going on outside. So I'm going to talk about the mega trends, and then I'm going to narrow it down to how that affects LinkedIn. So disruption. We have not seen an era like this ever in the history of the world. Disruption in every single industry. For example, in advertising and marketing, there used to be 14,000 different agencies in the United States. And in the last 2 years, 30% of them are gone. They're just gone. So we've never experienced this kind of a disruption at this scale. So across all industries, it doesn't matter what size of business you are. There are some really big agencies that, have been living large for too long, and all of a sudden the bottom fell out of everything. And it is global. It is not isolated to the United States or any section of the world. So I've heard a lot of people who are really talking about trends and statistics and all sorts of things call this the decade of destruction. So there's so much change going on in every industry and the way we do business and the way we find information that people are calling this the decade of destruction. And I think that's pretty accurate. So when our values and our behaviors shift dramatically, so do sales and marketing shift dramatically. So thank you, Connie, and the Global Chamber for having me to speak with you this morning. I love helping fellow marketers and entrepreneurs and startups really win this whole game of marketing on the digital platform. So let's look at some of the mega trends that are influencing sales and marketing right now. Over 50% of us, according to McKinsey and some of their reporting in the statistics, are really questioning our life choices. All of our old norms are gone. So things like home ownership, job mobility, marriage, location, entrepreneurship, having a side gig, and even higher education have really come into question. And we're changing the way we view and value those things. So personal values have shifted a great deal, around work and time management, where and how we spend our money, the whole work from home, return to office thing, retirement. Oh my gosh, there's nothing that's changed as much as the way we view retirement. The 4-day work week is that's a very valid conversation. The way we treasure personal time off and either take it or don't take it. And then the whole way we try to balance work life, commuting, all of that stuff has really come into question. And this one I find very interesting. There are a significant number of people who are giving up their smartphones for things that are much simpler. So the whole anti-tech movement, so much of our brain is being taken up by all the information that we're just being flooded with all the time. So interestingly enough, there are people that still want to read the newspaper in its physical form, or they'd rather get a card from somebody or a phone call than a message on social media. There's lots of different ways that this has manifested itself as well. And what it all boils down to is we all want more autonomy and a little bit more control of our time and attention. So what are the trends that we're talking about here? So number one, you can give up the whole idea that virtual selling is going away. It is the new norm. So you really want to think about how you can embrace this in a way that is tolerable for you and a way that works for you the most effectively. So are you a late adopter to the digital platform? If you are, client acquisition is going to be challenging, expensive, and time consuming. And the other thing that late adopters are going to experience is that it's really difficult to differentiate from the people who are already firmly established in the marketplace. So another thing you want to think about, and this is probably the most important point that I have to make for this entire presentation. Since the pandemic started, exhaustive research has been done on how we choose the service providers that we hire. And they say that it takes 12 to 22 touches, most of them on the digital platform, before we're interested in reaching out to a service provider or purchasing products and that sort of thing. 12 to 22 touches. Now, anybody can put up a YouTube channel, and that doesn't mean that they're a reliable professional. So the place where it's easiest for you to establish your reputation is on LinkedIn. People trust LinkedIn much more than they do other platforms. So search disruption is another thing that's happening right now. And I'm telling you, it's really bad. I do a weekly podcast with someone that does SEO for websites, and he says that search optimization is off by about 60 to 70%. It is declined that much. Websites that used to get millions of touches and views in a month are now getting hundreds or thousands. So websites themselves are becoming less important. They're a much more static thing that people just check to see if you're legitimate. They are not as interactive as they used to be. And what Google has done recently is they are de-indexing web pages. So if you have a web page that's not indexed correctly, or it hasn't gotten any traffic, it's not even showing up on Google. It is not part of the search function anymore. So search is going through huge disruption, and most of that is because of AI. So how are you going to reach your audience? How are you going to get the good stuff that's out there on the digital platform? So here's my question for you. Is your content and your graphics up to date and digital ready? Or do they seem old-fashioned? Are they too complex? Is the font too small and they're difficult to read and things don't show up well? Because people are looking at your posts, your blogs, your thought leadership, your videos, your educational pieces, especially your client success stories. Who else has had success with you? And then industry stats and client statistics. People want to see what these things are. They want to work with you. It's just that your content is how they're deciding whether you're credible or not. So make sure that everything that you're doing on the digital platform is up to date and modern looking and sleek and easy to read. So what is the number one converting factor? And I'm going to argue that it is clarity. There is so much noise and confusion out there that the person who is able to clearly state what problem they solve and who they serve and how they do it, they are going to be the ones that win the business. So the second trend that I really want people to understand is hyper-personalization. Now, we've heard about this a lot. It's never been more real than it is right now. People really want to have it, they want to be invited into your world. They want to know that you're talking to them. You know, the old description of marketing and sales, the differentiator between the two is marketing is one to many and sales is one to one. Well, I'm going to argue that your marketing should be one to one. If you have 4 different audiences, you need 4 different campaigns that are specific to those different audiences so that it looks like you are talking to them one to one about their personal challenges with their business. So you want to meet your clients where they are. Cookie cutter solutions, they don't work anymore. Nobody wants to be one of many. They want to be approached one to one. Clients really need us to understand their unique needs. You know, I work with attorneys, and one of the first things they ask me is, have you ever worked with attorneys before? And they always say, no, you don't understand my problem. So I really spend a lot of time listening, and I listen for their words. How are they expressing what their unique challenge is? You really want to tailor everything that you do specifically for your audience, one to one. People are investing less frequently, and they're being much more discriminating about choosing those service providers that they're going to do work with. You know, we may do less in a given year as far as investing in our own businesses and marketing and sales, but the things that we do, we're spending more on, and we're trying to get a lot more bang for our buck from our marketing and sales dollars. We don't want to be handed off to somebody. That is more of a cookie cutter solution. You know, oh, I've gotten the business now, so I'm going to send you off to somebody else on my team. You really want to avoid that sort of thing. It's a really easy way for you to lose business. And people will actually wait for the right service provider. They will budget for it and pay more for a hyper-personalized solution. So what does this mean in your services and the products and the way that you express what it is that you do and what you have to offer? You know, people are looking for boutique solutions. They want to know that it's customized exactly for them. You want to really think about narrow segmentation. You know, your marketing should not be one to many. You want to do market research. Instead of using the verbiage that you've always used to express what it is that you do and the problem you solve, find out what the new conversation is about and make that conversation about the people that you serve, not about your industry jargon and that sort of thing. Use their language, not yours. You want to make sure that you are spending some time just listening. Just let them talk about what their problem is and make sure that the solution that you have is right for them. You know, we're all professionals. We're connected to tons of people. If we're not the perfect solution, if they need to do something else before they work with us, make sure that you recommend them to the right professional. It's a professional courtesy. So deep listening is really important so that you know what they've tried before, what problem it is that they're trying to solve, and how your unique solution can help them solve that problem. And you want to customize all of your services. And again, one-to-one marketing is really what you want to do for the win. So this is huge. Brand has become way more important than it ever has been before. You used to be able to get away with being slightly vague and meeting several different audiences with the same branding. Right now, brand differentiation, brand recognition is a huge part of your reputation. People really need to know how you're different from the rest of the people in the marketplace because it is noisy. They need to know what your reputation is and have you solved this problem before for this audience? And what makes you different? What's your track record? So you really want to get your business branding into stealth mode. Why should somebody hire you? Generalists are really having a rough go of it out there. So if you are one of those people that says, well, my products and services are needed by everyone, that may be true, but the way you express that needs to be personalized. You know, people want to know, do you serve me, my specific demographic? And do you have experience and a track record with my specific problem? And then what is your competitive edge? So we all want to feel like we have access to you that's special. We want to feel like a VIP. So what's really popular these days is done for you. Membership things, special access, any kind of customization and add-ons. And what's really interesting is immersion experiences. You know, people are looking for experiences, not just a solution, but something that they can be involved and engaged with. So you really want to think about also, how can you be authentic? You know, I tell people all the time on LinkedIn, generic is the kiss of death. There's so much generic content out there. There is so much noise. You really need to find an angle, find a way to be different than the rest of the noise so that you can stand out from the competition. So you want to change your marketing and sales pitch, and you really want to talk about, who are you? And why are you in business? And here's probably the most important one at all. What are your values? People really want to know that they're working with someone that has similar values and a similar lifestyle, similar interests. They want to know that you're a human being that they can really know, like, and trust. Tell them about your struggles and have them share their struggles. Have a real conversation with the people who are prospects for you and with your referral partners. It will really deepen that relationship. And even in your content, think about it as being a one-to-one conversation. And people want to know that you struggle, that you're a real human being and not some perfectionist and, a professional who never, ever has to worry about things. So social media is best as a one-to-one conversation over coffee. I tell people, when they're writing posts, when they're writing a blog or a newsletter, you want to pick one single client and just pretend that you're having a heart-to-heart conversation with them over coffee. If you do that, your content is going to be so much more successful than if you're really just thinking about, everybody needs this, everybody wants this, and having a one-to-many kind of conversation. And I'm going to go ahead and stop my share for a second and just check in with everybody and see if there's any questions about the things that I've presented so far. Anybody have any comments or questions about the megatrends and how that's playing out on the digital platform?
Hi, this is Stephanie Austin. I have a comment. This is very beneficial. I've never thought about that I'm making things so generic, because I'm like, let me try to touch everyone by, being vague or stating that I'm able to do X, Y, and Z. So you sharing this with us about breaking it down, virtual selling is a new norm, being more personable and getting to let people to know me. I'm thinking from a business perspective that I don't need to be so personal. I just need to kind of stay in my business focus. But it makes sense as what you're saying in regards to act as though you're speaking to someone who's face to face over coffee and being intimate in your conversation. So this is extremely beneficial. I know it's a recording, but I'm taking notes feverishly.
Thank you. Thank you, Stephanie. Gary.
Hey, good to see you, Connie. It's been a long time. Hey, Angela, thank you very much. It's been a great conversation so far. The slide that you had a couple slides back about creating a VIP experience, you listed off a couple things that you could do. Could you delve in and give some more concrete examples of what you've seen have been successful with folks?
Yes. One example of something that's becoming really popular these days is, a lot of people work with you and there's an end to the service, right? And it's like we all know that it's ongoing intervention, ongoing training that really makes the needle move a little bit more. So communities have become something that's really important. So a lot of my clients they're really confused about sharing content, and I work with a lot of solos. So not everyone can afford to have an expensive digital agency do all of their work for them. And really, only an agency that understands you in nitty-gritty detail and your personality can do a good job anyway. So you probably should be doing your own posting and that sort of thing. But I created a community for attorneys so that if they're going to post something, for example, one of them just was voted as being the best such and such firm inside of San Francisco. And they're like, oh my gosh, how can we capitalize on this situation? How can we let other people know that we've been voted, best firm for XYZ? And so they asked that question in this community, and a whole bunch of people chimed in, not just me, the expert. Of course, I put together a video and told them how they should take care of that, but it's immediate response that people are looking for. So anything, and the community is easy to monitor. It's not like it's a huge investment of time. Or, if somebody has a very specialized question when you're working with them and you know of somebody that can help them out with that, I belong to several professional networking groups, which is great because people are always willing to talk to another professional. So having access to that for free, just for a 30-minute conversation is very VIP. I mean, I have people come to me and say, who do you know that does XYZ? And I always have an answer for them. And I think there's great value in that.
So,
Great,
Angela,
thank you.
just a follow-up question there is, what platform are you using for your community?
And that's a great question. I mean, there's lots of choices these days. There's Circle, there's, WhatsApp, there's all kinds of different places. I have a CRM that actually has a really beautiful community that's easy to maintain. So some platforms like Salesforce and other CRMs, client response management programs will have something like that, but there's plenty out there, like Circle and a couple of others. Now, there's an expense to that, so you really want to think about how can you use this both for maintaining the loyalty of the clients you've already worked with, but how can you use it for business development as well? And I give people a 1 month complimentary subscription to that so that they can see where the value is.
Ah, thank you. And Mighty Networks also. Thank you.
Yes.
And yeah. Okay, Anita. And then we also have a question from Aaron Johnson. So Anita, we'll go you first and then we'll go over to Aaron.
Okay, thanks so much. Hi, Angela. Nice to see you again. So I view LinkedIn as the business Facebook, and I try and keep it very personable. I realize it's a community, but I'm not posting what I had for dinner, my cat's problems, religion, politics, none of that. But it's a community, and mine is sort of small. It's around 30, almost 3,400 people now, and I'm working on growing it. But is it wrong to then reach out to that community to let them know if I'm doing something in my personal life that might be of interest? So, for example, I am getting ready to launch a YouTube channel called Longevity Bound. It'll cover health, fitness, longevity issues because that's my collegiate background. I mean, is that okay to like reach out to my LinkedIn people and say, hey, if this is of interest to you? Because that's a big community to like not tap into, right?
It would be wrong for you not to share that.
Good.
It is usually the things that we are passionate about that attracts the right people. Like I said in that one slide, values are everything these days. And that is a passion project of yours. I think it will attract the right people. And, we don't want to just work with clients these days. We want to work with the right clients, because that's where the long-term relationship and the referrals and it's just a much more rewarding experience. I have a friend who does he does websites and dashboards and really looking at what are the results that you're getting from your website for attorney firms. And he posted a photo of his gardening on LinkedIn. And he posted, I don't know, it was like 7 different photos of different things. And he got thousands of views of that because that was the first time on LinkedIn that he revealed something that was other than working on websites. And seriously, how many times can you see him post about, I do this and I do that? And, it's like we get really bored really fast, even though we love them. But, showing something personal is a whole different experience. Now, you want to be careful with that, but I tell people who are sharing content, make sure you share something that's personal as well, because that's where you really amp up the attention on all of your content.
Thank you. So Aaron
Yeah.
Johnson said, please talk about the value of a company page and followers.
Ah, that's a great one. Now, it depends. Can you tell me how big your company is? I'm really curious because the answer is going to depend on this. And if you want to drop it in the chat.
Yeah, no, it's fine. We're a small organization, and I'd say a sales team of amongst us maybe 6 or 7, and we all have fairly decent presence on LinkedIn, but then trying to look at what the company page should be doing for us as well in tandem.
What a company page can do for a small firm is to make them look bigger and more legit. So you want to make sure that everybody that is involved with that company, right down to your office admin, has a job description that is connected to the company page. So that company logo pops up on their LinkedIn profile, and especially in that above the fold view. Now, anytime you add and connect a company page to your profile, it's a 10x in the search engine optimization because it's an internal link on LinkedIn. LinkedIn hates it when you send people away, like to a website or something that is not part of LinkedIn. They want you to stay on LinkedIn forever. So if you send people to a company page where there's additional information, that's great. The other advantage of having a company page is, let's say a colleague of yours posts something. If they post it on that company page, anyone else from the company can share it to their network as well. And it's really that kind of thing. When employees are sharing information from other employees of the business, that people are like, wow, they're working collaboratively. That must be a great organization, and they pay more attention to that. It's called employee advocacy. You're advocating for the business itself. And I have been super successful at setting up employee advocacy programs. I'll give you an example. I worked with a startup, and on Friday in their staff meetings, they would give out a bag of M&Ms to whoever had the most engagement on their post that week. And you'd be surprised in 3 months what that did for their bottom line. It's shocking.
That's good to hear, because I think philosophically that's what we're looking at. We're just trying to understand how much we should push for followers on the company page versus our own, and where that crossover is, to get those kind of followers as well. And as a side note, we did a little promotion around raising our SSI, social selling index, just to get our team re-engaged and whatnot, and kind of had a similar internal kind of goal.
SSI score is a great thing to track for salespeople. I have a whole landing page that tells you about the different scores and how to bring those up. So you should probably connect with me and I'll send you that so that you can beat everybody else's score on the team.
Absolutely.
Angela, if you can put that in the chat, that would be awesome if you're open to that, or maybe you want to talk to people. So I have a quick question is how do you feel about using AI created images on LinkedIn posts?
Well, AI is a huge topic. And LinkedIn itself has 21 different AI features that are incorporated into the platform. So you may have noticed when you start composing a post, it'll say, rewrite with AI. I do not recommend doing that. The search function still recognizes things that are written by AI. And I think the humans are much more responsive to that. It genericizes things so quickly. And it's probably not the right language for somebody. I'm a writer, so I have a very distinctive voice. And anytime I put something through AI, it doesn't quite sound like me or a human being. Now, images is a whole different thing. I have been using AI generated images for quite some time. I work with some tech people, and I'm going to tell you, trying to find images that display what happens in a tech situation, they're boring. They are the same old photos that you find, whatever stock photo source that you have. And I don't care if you pay for it, and pay top dollar, it's super boring. So being able to create images using AI and getting a little bit more specific, and especially when you're adding things like graphs and wording, and you're putting together a model of something. I just did an AI illustration of what's happened with the client journey. 60 to 70% of the client journey these days is completely out of your control. You have no idea that somebody is checking you out. They haven't hit your website, they haven't approached you personally. So you really want to take control of the content that people are finding for you. You really Google yourself and find out what's out there, and make sure that you flood the digital platform with the right kind of thing that really greases the wheels for business development, rather than, I just had a financial planner tell me that one of his current clients that came to him for employee benefits for a merger and acquisition type of business, so a big client, actually decided that he wanted to work with him because of his Facebook page, because he could determine that this guy was a family man, that he, was a part of the community. He's really looking for that stuff that you can't see on LinkedIn, because financial planners have a lot of compliance and other issues. And so sharing personal gets really tricky. So we checked him out on his Facebook page, and that's how he made his purchasing decision. So really controlling what you have out there on the social media platforms, digitally, wherever it is, honestly, Google yourself and clean things up as quickly as you can.
Thank you. Okay, our next question, Neil Bison. How do you feel about leveraging LinkedIn live sessions? Have you seen value in those?
Oh my gosh, if you show up at all well on the video platform, use LinkedIn Lives. LinkedIn Lives seem to be preferred as far as video on LinkedIn. So the algorithms actually promote LinkedIn Live. Now, I'm an introvert. I'm scared to death of going live on LinkedIn. It's probably just not going to happen in my lifetime. But I do share videos, and videos are by far preferred. But you get a little extra something from those LinkedIn Lives. They really boost that. And I know of quite a few people, somebody in organizational development, she got her biggest client ever from a LinkedIn Live. Somebody in HR watched it, really loved her. There is no faster way to know, like, and trust than video. There just isn't. And some of the most successful LinkedIn lives are actually you interviewing somebody else, another professional, a former client, a colleague, whoever it is. If it's 2 people or 3 people, it's like, don't take my word for it. Here are other people who think that I'm an expert, and that really establishes credibility. Collaboration is huge these days. Collaborative projects are much more interesting to people than a solo project that you're doing.
Oh, thank you. And Angela, I didn't know you were an introvert. I thought you were a
Oh God.
Okay, so we have another question here. Gunjan, I run a small company. We have many verticals. So should I post on my own LinkedIn and my company LinkedIn page?
If there is a following for the company page, definitely post on the company page. But honestly, you're going to get the most traction from your personal profile. People have a connection to you. They joined your network because of you. It's hard to create an emotional connection to a company. It's much easier to create an emotional connection to a person. That's how business really moves forward. In sales, one of the oldest things that people are ever going to teach you is that you have to get somebody's ego out of the way before they can make a purchasing decision. So you have to satisfy them with the know, like, and trust. And statistics are a great way to do that. But purchasing decisions are made from the heart. They're made with emotion. So get that ego out of the way by establishing trust and credibility, and the whole sales process is going to be a whole lot easier.
Thank you, Angela. I had a follow-up on that. So my company serves many different verticals. We are in life sciences, we are in defense, we are in consumer products, for example. So on my LinkedIn posts, if I have all of these different things going, then people in any one vertical may get confused about the stuff that is not relevant to them. And I've struggled with how to parse that out.
And I totally understand your struggle. I 100% understand that. The most important thing for you is to make it very clear on your profile all the different verticals that you serve, perhaps in a bulleted list. Now, when you post something into the news feed, people will pay attention to it or not, depending on whether it's for them or not.
Right.
So the best thing you can possibly do, post for every single vertical. People can self-select. I'm going to know if I'm in, healthcare and not in defense, or whatever the differentiation may be, whether it's a post that I want to pay attention to or not. So that very first line or two on every single post should make it very clear who your audience is for. So naming a topic, using a statistic, some sort of a hook that mentions the vertical that you're talking about. So make it very clear and easy for people to self-select.
Is it
Thank
just
you.
me or can we hear Angela? Are you still there?
What's that?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
It was just you. We could hear her.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Good. So I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint presentation and bombard you with some more information, and we'll do another Q&A. So really think about that whole one-to-one conversation and making it really clear who the audience is for each post that you share with people. So nobody is on LinkedIn to be sold to. We do not want to be sold to on LinkedIn. Like I said, LinkedIn is not a direct conversion tool. It's a place for people to establish their credibility, for them to really stay top of mind with their network. So the big trend these days is we do not want to hear another pitch. And especially if you connect with us and we get a pitch, honestly, I block those people. Not only do I disconnect from them and not ever connect with them, but I block them. Because you can do that to me once, but these people are repeat offenders, and I don't have the energy to deal with that sort of thing twice. So, anybody pitches you, feel free to block them. We're very anti-salesperson. So traditional sales roles really need to change dramatically to more relationship and social selling characteristics. We don't want pressure. If something is a limited time offer, we're probably not going to bite. We don't want to be pressured into things. And please don't try to sell people solutions that they don't need. If somebody else is better to serve a specific challenge that somebody brings to you, recommend them to another professional. They're going to respect you so much more from that. They'll try to find you a referral. And gimmicks and discounts. Oh my gosh, we are just so done with all of that stuff. You just really want to be honest and open and upfront about things. So really focus on relationship first. Focus on the right solution for the people that are in front of you and make it more of a collaborative experience for people. Yes, you are the expert, but make it feel like it's a collaboration with your clients and customers. So this may sound like an oxymoron, boutique convenience, but this is really what we're looking for these days. We want to have a boutique, customized experience of your goods and services, but we want it to be super convenient. If you make me work really hard at it, if it's not easy for me to get through your onboarding process, that's where you have a tendency to lose people. Onboarding needs to be personal. It needs to be boutique. So automations need to be customized for specific verticals. And so you really want to think about this oxymoron when you're putting things together. Is it a boutique, convenient experience? And number 6, this one might be really shocking to people. Good referrals are not enough anymore. They used to be. People are still going to go, number 1, to your LinkedIn profile. I work with attorneys, and the American Bar Association did some research on attorney referrals, and they found out that 94% of attorney referrals look at that person's LinkedIn profile first. If there's any attorneys in the room, I'm sorry, but LinkedIn or attorney websites are not the most user-friendly places to be. So people will go for your LinkedIn profile first. Then they might go to your website and find out, how big is the firm? Is it trustable? That's, do they mention me as part of their demographic? Yelp is still an important thing. I have a couple of clients that Yelp is one of their number 1 sources for leads. But they also use their LinkedIn profile. They're driving traffic from Yelp to their LinkedIn profile. So testimonials, make sure that you have some testimonials. On LinkedIn, they call them recommendations, but make sure that they're very prevalent on your website and on your LinkedIn profile. And then, do you have blogs out there? Most people are looking at your content. Do you know what you're talking about? Is it up to date? Is it in my language and not in jargon and platitudes and things that are just really vague and not specific? Just because a referral was great for you doesn't mean that it's a good fit for me. So people are doing far more research before they really contact people. So don't depend just on good referrals. Make sure that all of your presence on the digital platform is up to snuff and really establishes you as a credible person instead of just looking like a bad neighborhood. So the other thing is immersive and interactive experiences. So VIP sessions where people actually get to sit down and work with you one-to-one. But on the digital platform, what this means is polls. Polls are still so popular on LinkedIn. And what I find is so interesting about that is people really can't lay off. They're just, we see a poll and we're just, if it's anything that might be interesting, we're just really pulled in. Quizzes are another thing that are super popular. You know, we want to know where we stand on things. So if you can incorporate one of these into a newsletter or your posting or your website, it's a really great way of generating interactive business, people who are going to be loyal. Webinars, things where people can come and try before they buy, are fantastic. You know, let them have a chance to ask their questions. You know, rather than you telling them what they want or what they need to know, let them ask you. So live events like LinkedIn Lives are a really great way to drum up new business and get more attention, which eventually will lead to relationship and referrals. Ask Me Anything, those kinds of things in communities, and, you know, posting them from your website, posting them on LinkedIn, and communities have become really big. So the cliff notes on all of this: have a strategy to stay top of mind on the digital platform. Make sure that whatever you do, you are being authentic and on brand for you and your business. You know, I think there are so many times, especially if we're a little bit more cautious and perfectionist or introverted, we hide behind our business. And what you really should be sharing is your own special something, because that's what people are buying. So don't be afraid to be authentic. Use your language, use your passion, use that something that you've got to differentiate yourself from the other people in the marketplace. And you really want to ensure, even if what you sell is products, make sure that it is a personalized experience for every single person. You know, I purchased something on Amazon the other day. You know, it was, I don't know, some pet thing. And that company actually sent me a card. I was just so shocked. And they asked me, you know, how do you like the thing that you bought and that kind of thing. And they said it was amazing. It was a different over the top experience. And I was, you know, they really earned my loyalty through that. So brand yourself, and really brand yourself boldly. Make sure that you are recognizable, and your business as well. And this means logos, all kinds of things that you are putting everywhere. Make sure that it's recognizable and that you're using it. And differentiate yourself. You know, go look at your top 3 competitors. What are they doing? And do something completely different. You know, what I see so many people do all the time, and it drives me nuts, is, well, so-and-so is doing that, we need to do that too. No, you don't. What you want to do is something completely different. So really differentiate yourself and use some low tech. You know, when somebody starts working with me, you know, I send them a thank you in an email, but I'm also going to send them a card. I mean, an old-fashioned snail mail card. And I've had people call me up and say, you know, oh my God, I've never had anybody send me a card just for paying my bill. It's really, it's a nice touch to get some of the low-tech stuff these days. I'm an introvert, so you know, the phone is not my deal. But I'm learning to use it a lot more, and it's really helping build my business. So get over yourself and whatever your reservations are about some of these things, and really start to incorporate some low tech into your business. So here's the cheat sheet. You should really be examining the entire client journey, even that 60 to 70% that you're unaware of while people are checking you out. And then what's missing? You know, is there some really basic information that you're skipping over? Do you have more things that are appropriate for the tail end of the client journey and not enough at the front end? You know, it's the awareness, the education, the preference, those are the things that you want to try and think about. And where are you losing people? Is it after they've actually had a one-to-one conversation with you? That's a really telltale thing. Then you need to really up your game with follow-up after you've had an initial conversation with people. What is the kind of content that they're seeing after that? Take control of all of that so that you can really rock the entire client journey, not just a portion of it. So translated to LinkedIn, is your profile gorgeous, or does it look like a bad neighborhood? Is it super clear who you serve and what problem you solve for that audience? Is your profile about you, or is it client focused? Is it personal, like a one-to-one conversation? Are you differentiating yourself from the marketplace? And do you have a strategy for staying top of mind? Not just a great profile, but how are you in the newsfeed and keeping on top of things with prospects and potential prospects and your referral partners? And is everything recognizable as your brand? So here's what prospects really want to know. Do you have experience working with people like me? Can I trust you as a business professional and a human being? Who are you? What are your values? And what is the problem that you solve? And have you solved it before? Do you have a track record of success? So how does this translate onto the LinkedIn platform? I'm going to show you a couple of people's profiles, and I'm going to point out some very specific things that you want to pay attention to. I'm in the San Francisco Bay Area, so we're kind of at, social media central. And if you don't have a banner on your LinkedIn profile, a lot of people are on to the next person. They're really not even going to pay any attention to it. This is a fantastic opportunity for you to keep people on your profile. So you want to add some of your personality. Now, Peter is an attorney, but he loves hiking and he loves California. So this is undeniably California. It's Yosemite. It's a place that he goes frequently. So he's revealing part of his personality just by his choice in photo for the banner. He's also a writer. And so he uses a quote that to him is very important from Benjamin Franklin. And then, of course, he still has the company branding on there so that he looks credible. And we actually used a different version of the company logo so that he really starts to establish some brand recognition for the firm. Now, verification is a fairly new thing on the LinkedIn platform. It's been around for about 1.5 years. It is done by Clear. And if you are a member of Clear, it takes you about 3 minutes to verify that you are an actual human being on LinkedIn and not a bot or, a fake profile or something else. With attorneys, this has gotten to be a really big deal. So I recommend to all of my clients that they go through the verification. All you need is your driver's license or a Clear membership, and you don't have to join Clear to do this. It's still free. Now, most social media platforms charge a fee for verification. Right now, LinkedIn does not. So I would say take advantage of that quickly. Now, the best part of Peter's entire profile is his headline. Most people have, partner at Richards, Watson, and Gershon. Well, that doesn't tell me a thing. It doesn't even tell me a practice area. So we worked really hard on creating something that was a little bit more like a narrative. So his headline says, "Win your appeal in trial court with a certified appellate specialist. I collaborate with trial attorneys and clients to set the stage for success when handling your appeal." Appeals are scary. It's kind of a 50-50 prospect. And he really creates confidence in his ability just in his headline. You want to think about that headline as drawing people in so that they'll look at more of your profile and find out who you serve, and what problem you solve, or state it right in the headline. So, my friend Habib, his headline is super, super simple. It just says formation and exit strategies, advising clients throughout the life cycle of their business. And he is a partner he's a really good friend of mine, and we call it ravioli and fritas because nobody knows how to say Ragianti correctly. And then he incorporates people. He works with a lot of startups, so he wanted to go for a younger demographic in this photo. And LinkedIn has done tons of studies on how people respond to LinkedIn profiles. And through the heat map study, what they've discovered is if there are people in your banner, it is so much easier to create an emotional connection with whoever is looking at your profile. You know, the digital platform is 2D, it's flat. It's really hard to establish an emotional connection with somebody. But smiling faces, people who look like you, that's what is really effective in your LinkedIn profile. Now, this is called the above the fold view, and you get 5 seconds to pull people in or drive them away. You want to make sure that you're pulling them in. Now, Habib is driving traffic by using a clickable link right at the top of his profile. If you want to get a 15-minute appointment with him and find out if he can possibly help you with formation or exit strategies, you can get on his calendar directly. Easily. You don't have to interact with anybody. Now, talk about convenience. I do this and it really drives traffic for me. It has really changed the way I do business. And as an introvert, if people can help themselves, that's fantastic in my opinion. So here's my friend Patricia. She's got really simple headline, and she just says California estate planning attorney. So if you're in Nevada, you're probably not going to call her if that's what you need. Then she also establishes her credibility by saying that she's a podcast guest, a speaker, and an author. And these are things that really help establish credibility. And it helps her come up in searches so she can get more podcast guesting, more speaking opportunities. And her branding is fantastic. I mean, right down to the outfit that she's wearing, it's got this green that really goes through everything. And this is her and her kids. So reflecting your values, preserving family harmony, and empowering your heirs. That's the kind of estate planning attorney she is. So really great branding, really speaking to the heart of the matter and talking about values. So
Angela, oh, go ahead.
thank you so much for your time and your attention. And wow, we are right at time.
What a powerhouse. Can you put your LinkedIn profile again in chat? And thank you so much. And we do have just 2 minutes left. And being a sales trainer, insight is the booby prize. What are you going to do as a result of this presentation today? I'm going to redesign my headline. That's what I'm going to do. Who else is going to commit what you're going to do as a result of it being here and with Angela's expertise today?
It's the actionable things, people, that really move the needle.
Yes, and when you commit it outward, you'll get her done. Aaron, are you going to commit to do anything?
Sorry, I had to unmute. Yes, especially working on some of the inner that personalization side. I tend to leave it just business oriented, maybe hints of personality, but maybe letting a little bit more of that come through.
Okay, you know what? We are at the top of the hour. Anita, can you just real quick here?
Absolutely. Some of the features that you showed on those banners, how many of those require you to be on premium, or how many of them can you do like creating your own JPEG or GIF and then uploading it?
All of that is included with basic or free LinkedIn. There's not a single feature there that you have to have premium for.
Okay, thank you. And Stephanie, really quick, and then just before she goes, July 11 is our next sales roundtable. If you have anybody, any salesperson that has expertise, please reach out to me. We are looking for presenters just like Angela, and more than welcome for your ideas. So I'm putting my email in chat. So Stephanie, you're the last one before we say adios.
Okay, yes, Angela, quick question regarding the background. What about if you're not a company and you're looking for an opportunity or a job? What should your background be? What do you suggest?
Something that's professional but personal. That is the easiest way, because usually by the time somebody's looked at your LinkedIn profile, they're considering you. And so then it's more about cultural fit. So being able to professionally show something that adds some intrigue about you personally and displays some of your interests, that's definitely going to be a win.
Oh,
Thank you.
thank you. Thank you, Angela. So again, she's back by popular demand. Maybe every 6 months we need to have you revisit. So thank you
Thank you
very
so
much.
much, everyone.
Bye bye, everybody.